Welcome to another episode of In the Loop. I am Loopin III. Last episode, we went through some headlines in the news about music, about audio, and I realized that I get a lot of my headlines. I don't know if you're like me, but I get a lot of my headlines, my news, and my up-to-dates through social media, not necessarily through traditional media or traditional news. So I figured, what better way to carry out In the Loop than to be in the loop? And we can scroll through and see what type of headlines I've saved, videos I've saved, motivation I've saved. Let's get into it.
This theme park analogy will make you a better artist. Most artists keep their audiences outside of their theme park. They'll make songs, content, videos, but never invite anyone inside. Leading people to only stream your music is like building this whole experience only for people to watch it online at home for less than a penny. What top artists do is make videos and content to lead people into their park to have a cooler experience. The first tier ticket would be communities, fan clubs. The middle tier ticket would be early access, shows, private merch, private communities, and the top tier ticket could be private events, backstage access, studio sessions, even sending fans random gifts in the mail. Moral of the story here, if you want to have a theme park like the greats, you need to actually invite people inside, not just experiencing your commercials.
He's really got a point. I think a lot of times artists are just creating the art and putting it out. And that's beautiful because you were able to communicate a feeling, an emotion, a thought into a medium, whether it be music, whether it be painting or even culinary arts. You're getting something across from an emotion to now being tangible. But just the said thing is leaving people on the outside. Yeah, he put here as like music artists, but I think any art in general. The story is everything. Who are you is everything. That's the art itself is from you and from your thoughts and from your being. So I think for people to want to be attached to the art and to be involved in the art, they need more sense of the artist. And I like the tier system he broke down of letting people in and getting people in. Artists want to be able to live in the society monetarily, to be able to focus on creating art and giving art to the people. And that's where teams come in for sure, to help facilitate all those other facets of the artist, of the career. And I think being able to learn how to do that in the beginning when you're by yourself, before people believe in you, showcase who you are out to the public more, out to your fans more. Because really you're not trying to swindle people from their money. You're trying to give people your art, your experience, your thoughts through whichever medium you choose. So I really like this idea of letting people in more through different avenues on different levels, because not everybody is gonna rock with you the same. So great video, definitely some thoughts to take in.
Unpopular opinion, niching down is killing your reach and your creativity. Every major creative I admire is good at multiple things. We love Pharrell because he creates genre-bending music and has impeccable taste that transcends fashion, skincare, and culture. We love Matty Matheson because he's a chaotic and talented chef, but also has unexpected finesse as a restaurateur, actor, and screenwriter in the hit series The Bear. And we love Leanne Ford for her scrappy interior design style, but also for her collections with Crate & Barrel, her work designing Buck Mason stores, and her lifestyle magazine. My point is, you're not scattered, you're multidimensional, and that wide net is actually more interesting than being really good at one thing. Some people grow by going deeper, others grow by going wider. You can still build a brand with variety, you just need to be confident with a clear point of view. Send this to a multi-passionate creative.
Wow, this one really ties into the first video. A lot of us as artists are multifaceted. We have so many interests, so many inspirations outside of just the medium that we do or the industry that we're in. Niching down might actually be killing that, depending on the type of mind you are. If you're too scatterbrained, you can't focus and get things across. So maybe a niche to start works, and keep working that niche while you're adding other elements of who you are, your facets of your personality and your interests, because I think that adds to the entirety of who you are. And then when you can blend those together, your other passion points plus your professions or your main passion points, and be able to meld them all together, that really showcases the entirety of somebody, or at least the visual to others, how much you are interested in art, or not even just art, or other areas of your life. So I think we're in a great time period to be able to share and showcase easily with without having to go through the avenues of traditional medias and advertisements and marketings to now you can do this yourself online. And it doesn't even have to be super curated and perfectly visual in the beginning. Just get started and keep going. Even with these in the loops, I think there's just so much stuff I come across that I think other people can use or might inspire others. So that's kind of what In the Loop is going to be. This was a great video showcasing more than just making beats. I love art. Art is everything to me, and the creative minds are my favorite minds to even just have a conversation with. So you don't necessarily have to niche down. Pick your main points of focus to be able to get your art out and to showcase who you are as a person and your personal branding.
Spotify is going to be rolling out a premium deluxe tier at the end of this year. And the reason why we're worried about this is because Spotify just casually announced that as part of the rollout, users are going to be able to remix your music without your authorization. So as a music lawyer, I dove in and I go, pursuant to the contracts you guys signed, to use the music distributors that send your music to Spotify, I found the language that says that they're allowed to do this already. You're not going to have any say in who's remixing your music, the quality of the remixes, and then I have no idea what's going to happen with those remixes afterwards, because we have different apps like Hook, for example, which allows you to remix people's music legally, and then users can just share it out onto social media. Are the artists getting tagged? Are they getting paid for those shares on Instagram and TikTok? The answer is no. Now here's the thing, we're not just going to rely on Spotify. We need to always be promoting ourselves. So if you're a music creator, please tag yourself down in the comments so we can check you out.
Top music attorney. She's got a lot of good game. Check her out if you haven't. She talks about anything music law, things artists need to tune into. And this remixes thing is interesting because also being part of Trill Team 6, the DJ duo, we do a lot of remixes. We do a lot of performances where we're mashing up and mixing and everything. And I think that aids to promotion of artists. It goes hand in hand. The DJs were the ones breaking music from the beginning of time. And now we're in such an interesting period where you don't necessarily need these figures or these people to get music out and to get music heard. It's going to be very interesting how this unfolds. I don't necessarily believe that the artists shouldn't get their just due or their credit because that is their work. But I feel like more collaboration can happen. More things can be set up to where artists get the compensation they're supposed to. I think the big companies just own music rights or own music distributing platforms to the point of they don't have to pay the artists, which I don't think is right. There has to be a way that the artists unite, DJs and producers unite with other musical artists to make remixes together. Some people might not want, it's like sampling to where the band might not want to allow me to use a sample. And it's like, well, why not? Why can't we use this to make a whole new different music, or a whole new different vibe or energy? It's going to be interesting how this unfolds and how much we're going to see artists being taken advantage of or not taken advantage of, because these platforms make so much money off of subscriptions and pay out little. I understand there's a lot of artists, so then if they're paying everything out, they make nothing, but there's got to be a better way, a better system to be put in place so artists get paid. But stay on the lookout and see what Spotify's doing, because they're consistently doing something big.
The creative advice that I would give, write down all your fears, your flaws, your insecurities, the guilt, the pressures. Look at them on a list. Know they're all distractions. Once you do that, you will experience your life uninterrupted. That is the most important thing that you can do for your creativity, is to eliminate all the distractions, period.
Wow. Okay, Pharrell. More gems as always. I can take advice from this too. Having fears and not necessarily regrets, but apprehensions and wondering, am I doing this right or that right? You write all that down and get rid of it. Those are just distractions. Being able or communicate those feelings through the art. We get so caught up in creating what we think other people need. So then we get our big breaks. So then we get our views. We get our space in the creator economy. But I think that degrades the art and degrades the authenticity of the art. And what is your journey? Who are you? Project that out. So I can take note from this, and any apprehensions I would have of releasing a video or releasing some music and it might take me longer because I'm overthinking, you got to squash that. It's just a distraction. We all need to be a little less distracted in this world that's vying for our constant attention everywhere and pulling us. So more great words from the great Pharrell.
Haley Williams has totally hacked how artists are releasing music. She was like no to streaming services and made a cute nostalgic website that hosts her new album. And if you scoured the internet and found the code, you got to listen to it. Or if you bought a new product from her hair dye brand, which I love that integration, you also got the code, but maybe you found it on Reddit, and that's okay. I love the 2000s internet design. It's like healing my high school era. It makes so much sense with Hayley Williams. I love how experimental this album is. It's got so many moods and styles, and it feels really personal and introspective. I just love this kind of idea for an artist and this kind of drop.
Okay, Hayley Williams. I'm not as familiar with your music, but I really like this idea of changing the way artists release music and connect with people. This is a dope idea of taking the nostalgic late 90s, 2000s Windows computer aesthetic, but also tying it into other things she does like hair dye and stuff like that. I think this goes back to how we all have plenty interest. Creative minds have a lot of interest, a lot of ideas that pop up. So being able to tie these together, you're able to finish a bunch of projects and have them all meet and intersect, because all your interests do intersect within you. So that's why I think personal branding is ever important still. You might see videos on the internet where it's like personal branding's dead. Don't believe any of that. Again, get rid of the distractions. What is your idea? What is your goal? What do you want to achieve? Get rid of the distractions. Think of things out of the box that might intrigue you, and then give that experience to your fans or people that enjoy your art and what you create.
Just because people listen to your music doesn't mean they're going to follow you on social media. There's a lot of artists out there with millions of monthly listeners and only like 10,000 Instagram followers. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't put themselves out there. People know about their music, but they don't know about who they are. They don't know about the artists behind the music. So as an up-and-coming artist, you should take this into consideration when you're promoting your music and people like the music and your monthly listeners are going up. You need to also put yourself out there in front of those fans with personality content and storytelling content to get them to like you as well. So something you can do in this situation is actually post personality content and storytelling content, and then retarget your listeners on Spotify towards that content on social media. So once you put yourself out there and show them who you are, you create a deeper connection with them and they become more super fans. So with that being said, as an artist, don't rely on either streaming or social media. Find a balance between both, because there's a lot of artists out there that have millions of monthly listeners and no followers on social media. Then there's those artists that have 10 million social media followers and only like 10,000 monthly listeners. And that's because they're focused too much on the social media aspect and not enough on the music. Then there's other people who just focus too much on the music and not on the social media aspect. But if you want to succeed, you have to do both.
All right, Promo God. He's got a lot of great insights, ways I don't necessarily look at things, because I'm not necessarily a promoter marketer in the traditional sense. It's not my focus, but you do have to put many hats on if you want to succeed in this world, in these times we're in. And he has a good point. I notice some people focus more on the social media than they do on the art. And then some people focus too much on the art and not at all on the social media. And it's unless you have a team, you have to focus on both. You have to do both to present who you are and what you're offering to this world. But yeah, finding a balance. And then within that ties back into this theme of focus on all of it. Focus on you and put out all of it together. Everything can intersect because it's within you, is who you are. And we get so caught up in maybe I create a character or maybe I create a persona, but at the end of the day, it's you and who you are and what you're offering. If a lot of artists just want to be themselves within their art and project that to the world. And I think by focusing on all of it is how you get there, because you're noticing a lot of people with low followers getting a lot of view counts because of what they're providing art-wise is what's being gravitated towards and being watched and listened to. And then you also bring your social media presence with that together. You can really show the world what you offer, your perspective on art and creativity. But now another great point from the Promo God. This was another episode of In the Loop with Loopin III. Catch me next episode on more headlines, more news, more inspiration.